Hey guys, welcome back to the Fryday podcast. I'm your favorite host, Big J. There's no RJ today, as you can see. He's got work commitments. We got Autokeys-Dips, aka P1 Autokeys, back for episode 2. Thanks for coming on again, Dips. Making time.
All good. Happy to be here.
First episode, I think personally it went great. I got very good feedback off it.
Good.
I realised we've got more mutual friends in common than I thought we did. And yeah, just positive stuff, man.
Good stuff.
And I felt like it was a good episode, but I think that we've only talked about the negative stuff in your life that's happened. We haven't got to the switch over and when it became positive.
When things started to go better.
Yeah. So I think we got to COVID, when COVID started.
Yeah, got to COVID.
So do you remember, I just asked you outside, do you remember the first day they announced that lockdown?
Yeah. For me, when lockdown was first announced, I was just doing like locksmithing on the side because obviously things weren't going so well for me.
Yeah.
And they mentioned key workers at the time. Key worker, because I deal with keys. So crazy thing is when lockdown kicked in, I was actually working for someone else at the time, just doing a little part-time job, just to sort of see myself through the lockdown, basically.
Okay. Was that keys as well, or just
No,
random?
that was working for aerospace.
Okay.
So dealing with circuit boards for aeroplanes and military and stuff like that.
Yep.
But the crazy thing is during lockdown, when everyone got put into lockdown, I found that to be my busiest time.
Yeah.
I was actually getting so many phone calls then that I was just doing jobs on the side. I had a little Toyota Yaris and I was just I had my machine in the back because obviously I wasn't going through my best time at the time. Had the machine in the back and just going around doing jobs after I'd finished work. So I was doing 2 jobs at the time.
Yeah.
And then we'll fast forward a little bit to sort of 2021 when we were just sort of coming, it was still lockdown, but it's sort of just coming out of it.
Yeah.
And then September 2021, I decided that I'm going to start the business up again. So I ended up, because I went through a bit of mental health problems and all the rest of it, my sister, who's absolutely amazing.
Big up Sedge.
Yeah, big up Sedge. She owns a company called River Training Services. Okay. And she basically helps with mental health and stuff like that.
Yep.
So she guided me through getting myself back to where I need to be.
I bet that helped a lot because it was sister as well.
It helped massively. It helped massively. And not only my sister as well, it was a lot of my friends. Big up to everyone at Darkside Body Shop. They all helped out as well, getting me back to where I need to be.
Yeah.
And it got me to a point where I was like, I think I'm ready to set this business up again. So I called the company. I was thinking of names for the company. And in my head, one thing I realized is that when you're going through a difficult time, you've got to put yourself mentally in position 1. Okay, hence, I called the company P1 Autokeys. So it stands for position 1. And also in Formula 1, you've got P1.
What was the other names in the brainstorm?
There was quite a few, actually. I'm trying to think what the other one... Do you know what? Some of them were a bit sort of...
Pancholi's keys.
No, some of them were a lot of a play on words to do with keys and stuff like that. Like, dude, where's my keys? Play on dude, where's my car? And stuff like that. So I had a few names in the thingy, but I thought P1 Autokeys would be one.
Sounds professional as well.
One, a professional, but 2, it's always going to be a reminder for me from where I started.
Yeah.
I literally, at one point, as we spoke in the last episode, I hit rock bottom. And for me to then go from rock bottom to starting my company up again, and this time I was like, and my sister taught me a lot of things. She was like, you've got to change your paradigm. And what she meant by that, when I didn't even know what paradigms were at the time. So what she meant by that basically is if you keep thinking to yourself that only bad things happen to me, I never get money, or I'll never get a job, then that's true. You won't.
Is it like manifestation?
It is like manifestation.
But like negative manifestation.
But you've got to have it in your mindset. Like if you keep thinking to yourself, I never get jobs, then your behavior will reflect that and you will never get a job. Whereas if you say to yourself, I can get a job, then when you wake up, you'll be looking for jobs and you'll start...
Your mindset is different.
Yeah, your mindset's different. So the one thing I learned, and it's the biggest thing, is everything begins from your mindset. Yeah. Like absolutely everything. If you're down and out, then change your mindset, because I promise you, it will change. Your life will change, and it will change for the better. And the other thing that I learned as well is people only change when they want to change.
Yeah.
So for years, my friends, my family used to tell me that, oh, look, change your life, this, that, they wouldn't listen to them because...
But it's up to you.
I always thought that it could never happen to me. But then I realized that as soon as you change your mindset, it can happen. So 2021, September 21, I actually set up the P1 Autokeys, got myself a good accountant, and then decided to go back into it, set my van out, and just sort of worked from that.
Did you have to reinvest, or did you already have the van in that?
So a lot of, I had the van from previous, and a lot of the equipment, but a lot of that equipment had been dated now because we were like sort of 7 years ahead now. So it was like, okay, I've got to buy more equipment, which kind of meant me starting from scratch again. But it was like, I'll work with the equipment that I've got, build the business up, and then go from there. I always wanted to work on supercars. My dream was to work on supercars, but in my earlier days, it was like, who's going to give me a chance to work on supercars? And I kept saying this to my sister. I was like, oh, I want to work on supercars. She's like, write it down. Because anything you want to do, write it down and then visualize it, and then you can manifest that into your life. So I used to say to her that, I want to make this much money a day. She's like, write it down. So I used to write it down. And I remember the day that, I won't go into numbers, but the first day that I said to her, I was like, I want to make this much money per day.
Yeah.
And I rang her up and I says, I've done it. I've actually made this money. And she was like, good. She goes, what's your next goal now? And I was like, right, my next goal is this much money a day. And then I started making that. And it's not because it was just happening. It was because I was saying that and I was reading it, that this is what I want to make a day. So when I was waking up in the morning, I knew that, right, for me to make that kind of money, this is how many jobs I need to do. Yeah. This is what I need to do for advertising. This is what I need to do to get the work in. So that all sort of came through. And when I wanted to go into the supercar side of it, I was thinking, right, okay, I want to do supercar keys. Never done them in my life. Yeah. Someone gave me an opportunity to do a key for a Lamborghini.
And are they much different than a normal car?
Platforms are very similar. Yeah. Like, for example, Lamborghini use Audi system. But it's getting hold of the keys. It's making sure that the programming's done right. If something goes wrong, you're working on a 100, 200 grand car. Yeah. So you've got to make sure you've done your research and you've done and figured out what you're going to do before you actually do it. So as soon as I got the opportunity to do my first Lamborghini, I was like, okay, I've got the job in a week. And I sat there for the whole week researching on how I'm going to do this key. Yeah. Went there, done the key, happened. And then I was like, right, okay, I want to work on some Ferraris now. Managed to get a job and because when one person with a supercar and you've done a key for them, they'll start telling their friends. Yeah. It's the same with any car. Yeah. So my name sort of started getting out there that, oh, look, this guy does supercar keys.
So now obviously you're not just in Leicester. This has gone out of Leicester.
No, now, so this has gone out of Leicester. And I started in 2021. And then by 2022, we had a TSR show at Oadby Racecourse, the Shivam Review. Yeah. They organised a car show there. I landed one of my biggest contracts at that show.
Was that your first show?
That was the first show that we ever did. Yeah. And I landed one of my biggest contracts. And this is another thing that as well is you never know who's going to come to you and how they're going to be dressed. So always treat everyone with the same respect.
Did you have a gazebo and that all set up?
I had the gazebo, had my basic keys all laid out. I had my friend's Ferrari there, and I had my car there as well, my BMW. I had my Toyota GT86 at the time. Yeah. And I had that car there as well. And some guy came over to me and he's like, oh, can you do volume of keys? And I was like, thinking that he probably wants about 10 or 20 keys. And he's like, yeah. I goes, yeah, we can do that. Not knowing what cars they were. He goes, oh, we basically deal with Vauxhall, Peugeot, Citroen, and DS. It's like, okay, cool. I goes, how many cars do you need doing? He goes, we've got 40,000 cars on site. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, I can do it. Not a problem. I goes, look, here's my details. Give me a shout in the week. We'll run through everything. He actually called me, really nice guy as well, called me in the week. He goes, look, can you come in for a meeting? Went in for a meeting. They explained everything, what it was, what they do. And I landed the contract. So I now do all of their keys for them, supply them. And that.
But why would they need keys?
So basically, what they do is they get cars that are 1, 2, and 3 year old.
Okay.
And when they've gone out for lease and they come back, they basically go through a production of where they fix all the little scratches, dents, this, that, the other. A lot of the cars come back with only one key.
Yep.
So they need a second key before they go to the dealerships
Again.
to get put on the dealer network to get sold.
Okay, yeah.
So I landed that contract. And because that contract went really well for the first year, I ended up landing, because it was only Vauxhall first, I ended up landing a contract with them for Peugeot, Citroën, and DS as well.
The rest of the year.
So I now do, like, I probably do about, I think from the beginning of this year to now, we've probably done about 700 keys for them.
Wow.
And we're not at the end of the year even.
Congrats for that one.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So that was really good. And then I landed another contract with a supercar company that basically does experience days.
Yeah.
They came up to, again, guy came up dressed normally. It says, can you do supercars? Because he's seen the Ferrari there.
Yep.
Only had done one Lamborghini at the time. And then I was like, yeah, I can do supercars. And then went home, started researching straight away. I was like, right, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Managed to find a supplier for the keys. And then started doing Lamborghini, Ferrari. And then I was like, right, I want to get into McLaren keys as well.
Yep.
So I found a company that supplies the software, and had a good chat to him, had a meeting with him, and he's like, right, we can supply you the software and all the programming equipment and everything.
Do you find these online, or do you go to the trade shows? And
No. So these guys I found online as I was doing my research.
Yeah.
Got chatting to him. They're not even in the UK. Got chatting to him. He supplied the software. That comes with all the programming equipment, the hardware, and everything as well. And they give you technical support.
Yep.
So I was like, right, I want to go into McLaren's. So ended up doing McLaren keys as well. So now I can do McLaren, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, do Rolls Royce, Bentley. And because of that, I've started to get calls from, and this is at the end of sort of like 2022 now.
So about a year and a bit in.
About a year and a bit into it. And then I started to get, I put myself on Instagram, and then work started to flow through that.
Yep.
But then with Instagram, they have like, you get people from other countries looking at your stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I started getting calls from like America, Lithuania,
Dubai,
in Europe, everywhere, saying that, look, can you do keys for us? It's like, yeah, not a problem. Depending on what you need doing, I'd either have to be at the car, or you can send me the module. I can code the key and then send everything back to you.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of work in Africa, sending stuff and that.
Yeah.
A lot of keys in America as well, where they send me the stuff and then I just code the keys in, send all the modules back with the keys. And then that was going really well. And it's just started to progress from that. And then Yanimais were having a show in this year on at Oadby Racecourse.
Yep. August 18th one.
That was the August 18th show, and that went amazingly well. We had spoke to Bav about it, and he was like, look, we're doing this show, would you want to be a part of it and everything? So it was like, yep, definitely.
How do you know Bav? Is it recent, or you've known him for years?
So I've not known Bav for years. I've known of Bav for a long time, but I've only known him, I know him through people, but he didn't know me at the time.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we were doing this show and everything, got chatting to him. He's such a humble and such a nice guy as well, honestly.
Proper guy, innit?
Yeah, absolutely legit guy. And
because I've seen you at remember the meet and greet before in High Cross, innit?
High Cross,
I was going to say Shires.
Yeah.
Shows my age, innit?
Yeah, that's it. At the High Cross, so we went there and supported them for the meet and greet and everything. And he made that show really easy for us, as in like communication wise. His team were brilliant as well, like communicating throughout the whole process. But the show went so well for us lot. It was just unbelievable.
Numbers wise,
what, at the stand or in the show?
No, what do you mean it went well? Like there's loads of foot traffic.
When we do the shows, we're not actually selling anything at the shows, really. It's more about awareness of what we do, because a lot of people don't. You'll be surprised how many people don't know that auto locksmiths even exist.
Okay, wait. So I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to take you back a bit as well. You know when you started, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
No, go for it.
Who was your biggest competition? And my other question on top of that is, do AA and RAC, do they do the same stuff that you can do?
Right. So I'll answer the second bit first. Yeah. So AA and RAC, yes, they do. They have key assist programs.
Yeah.
A lot of their engineers actually call me.
I thought I was going to say
because they're limited to the amount of equipment that they've actually got. So I've got a lot of AA members, their drivers, that call me for jobs.
Yeah.
And then if they're at the job, they will ring me up, say, look, this is the job. Do you want to take it on? And then I deal directly with the customer.
Okay, cool.
Same with the RAC, same with Green Flag as well. As far as competition goes, I know that healthy competition is good competition.
Yeah.
But for me, what I had in my mind of how I want my business to be, I didn't see anything as competition. Because for me, it was like, I would rather work with another company than to try and compete against them. Because then what happens is you both lose out.
Yeah.
Because if I know, I'm not going to mention names, but I know companies that charge a third of the price than what I charge for a car key.
Okay.
But I know for a fact that they're going out and having to do 10, 15 jobs a day, whereas I'm doing 5 jobs a day and we're making the same amount of money. Do you see what I mean? So for me, it was like, why compete with, I'm not going to lower my prices just because they're going to lower their prices. Yeah. They can lower their prices. I offer good quality. I take pride in my work. If there's a problem after when the key's done, give me a call. We'll come back out to you. It's not a problem at all. So for me, my business ethic is more about service, the quality of workmanship that I'm giving, and the after sales service, because a lot of people don't bother about that. A lot of them think, oh, once the key's done, that's it. I'm not bothered about that. For me, it's like, look, if you have any problems, you're out on the road and you have a key issue, the key fails or there's an issue with the key, give me a call. Wherever you are, we'll come out to you. Okay,
so my next question is, you were saying before, how many jobs you need to do in the day and so on. How do you structure your day not knowing if you're going to get emergency call-outs?
So what I do with that is, and this is where I used to struggle the first time when I did it, is because I was trying to please everyone.
Yeah, and you can't.
One thing I've learned in life is you will never please everybody. So
last time I said, look at that camera, say that again. Say that again.
Right, so in life, you will never please everyone. And not only will you never please everyone, when you try to please everyone, you'll end up letting more people down.
Exactly.
Do you see what I mean? And that's the worst part. Because
facts.
I've had I used to back then I used to book jobs in a full day, then get emergency work, and then try and do that. So the next job's delayed, and because that job's delayed, the next one's delayed, next one's delayed, next one's delayed.
Knock-on effect,
by the end of the day, it's 9 o'clock at night. You've let the last 4 or 5 customers down. They've been waiting for the last 4 hours. So it's like, I'm not doing that anymore. So what I do now is I sort of say, I'll book 4 jobs in a day. Yeah. And I'll leave 40 minutes to 30 minutes in between each job. Yeah. And what I do is when that job's complete, the next customer, I'll ring them and say, look, can I come earlier? And most customers will say, not a problem. So I'll actually go earlier. By the end of that day, I've got about 2-3 hours left over. So what I then do is I ring the people that are going to be booked in the following day and say, look, do you want me to come today? Most people say yes because they want their cars done. I'll do that. So I end up, by the end of the week, I'm one whole day
ahead.
Yeah, one whole day ahead. So then what I do is the following week, I'll ring them up and say, do you want me to come in? So it literally follows on from that. Yeah. So my diary is constantly booked. There's so much work out there for everyone that a lot of locksmiths have this thing that, oh, we don't want to teach you, we don't want to tell anyone our secrets, this, that, the other. For me, it's there's enough work out there for everyone. There's millions of cars on the road, so there's enough work for everyone.
Being in the trade, actually, there's a few, like you said, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a few guys, but I don't think they're reliable as you, because even the other day I rang you to help my mate Viz, and literally next day you were there, and even he rang me, he's like, oh, thanks a lot, man, for putting me through. I said, I didn't really put you through, he's the only guy that I really know that's going to do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I think work ethic goes into it, because you have to structure your day, like you said, and I've had other guys who's been telling me that, I'll come, maybe they'll take 3 or 4 days, but people can't live without cars. I know that, innit? Because my customers they can't live without the car.
Don't get me wrong. There is days for us as well where we can't get parts in time or stuff like that. But my biggest thing is manage your customers' expectations.
100%.
The minute you can manage your customers' expectations, then they're in the loop. They know what's going on. So if I order a part today for you and I know that the part's not going to come in until 3 days, but I've booked your job in for tomorrow, the first thing I'm doing, as soon as I get off the call from ordering that part, and they're telling me it's going to be 3 days, I'm going to ring you and say, listen, part's going to come on this day, we'll pencil it in, as soon as the part comes, I'll call you, and then we'll come straight out to you. We'll get it booked in throughout that day.
Do you know when you say ordering parts, what's the main parts you order? Obviously the key.
Yeah, so we ordered the keys, the transponders, we have obviously tools as well for us and stuff like that, but mainly it's keys, but a lot of the keys we keep in stock anyway.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And because I'm now moving into more of the supercar keys, I tend to keep more of them in stock. I get calls for supercars. This is crazy. So I get calls for supercars up and down the UK.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had a guy, and I'll tell you a quick story. I had a guy that rang me from Brighton, and he rang me and said, look, I found you on YouTube. I seen one of your videos that you helped someone else. I think it was Matt Armstrong or something like that I'd done a video for. And he's like, I didn't know who else to call, and I thought you might be able to help. He goes, I've got a Lamborghini Huracan. It's gone to the dealers to get a spare key done. They can't do the key for it.
Yeah.
They've basically said to him that the body control module's failed. And my background's electronics.
Yeah.
So he goes, the body control module's failed. And they've quoted me £5,000 for the body control module.
A new one.
A new body control module. In total, they quoted him about £7,000 for the job, plus VAT.
Yeah.
So they ordered a key for it, and once they order a key, you can't return the key.
Yeah.
So he had to pay for the key. So he rang me up and I says, look, do me a favor. I goes, go to your car, take the key out, take the battery out of your key, and there's an emergency start position because it's keyless.
Yeah.
I goes, hold the key next to that and see if it starts. He goes, it doesn't start. I goes, okay, there's nothing wrong. From what we're talking about, it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with your body control module. It looks like the keyless receiver isn't working for when it's an emergency start. So I goes, do me a favor, take the bottom panel down, and I goes, has it been retrimmed or anything? He goes, yeah, they had it retrimmed. I goes, pull the bottom panel down, just make sure it's plugged in. So he pulled the panel down, rang me back and says, when they've pulled it to retrim it, they've actually broke a wire off it.
Yeah.
He's an electrician. So I says, do me a favor, just solder that wire, because he was in Brighton and we were talking over the phone. I says, look, solder the wire back in and try it again. He soldered it, held the key next to it, car started. So I says, look, I can come there and code your new key in for you. So I ended up driving to Brighton, went there, was probably there about 30 minutes, coded the key in, and then straight back to Leicester again.
And you saved him £7,000?
Saved him about £6,000, £6,500 I think I saved him.
The key was £500.
The key was 700 quid. Yeah, the keys are not cheap either. Key was 700 quid. That's not even some of it. In America, a McLaren key in certain parts of America is about $4,500.
Wow.
For one key.
Why is that? Just because it's a McLaren key or the
a lot of the dealers will charge different prices, but yeah, supercar keys, like Ferrari keys in America are about probably $2,500, $1,500, stuff like that. So I've had calls from I had a call from a customer actually who reached out to me from Houston and said to me, we're part of a McLaren club. He goes, I'll fly you out here. I'll put you up in a hotel and everything as well. He goes, spend about a week here. And he goes, we've got over 100 McLarens. And we want you to do the keys for most of them because the McLaren keys fail all the time. Yeah. So I says, yeah, so we're just trying to arrange the logistics behind that. So I should be hopefully doing a tour of America to do keys there as well.
I've got a question for you. This is off the top of the head as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get keys of all shapes and sizes, as you know. Porsche keys sometimes come in there.
Yeah.
What's the funkiest one you've ever worked on or seen?
The funkiest key. See, the thing is, I see so many keys. To me, they're just a key nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Things like your Koenigsegg's and Pagani's and stuff like that, they've got pretty funky keys.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce, they just use BMW keys.
Yeah.
It's just a BMW 7 Series. Lamborghini, Audi keys. And they are literally Audi keys.
Literally. I've seen it. Even... I don't know, this might be wrong, but you know the Bugattis, the old Bugattis?
Yeah, Bugatti used the old VW keys.
Old VW one, isn't it?
I've actually got a Bugatti to do, probably in about a month or so, Bugatti Veyron to do.
Super, the prices are going up on them, you know.
Do you know how much a key is from the dealer for that?
How much?
$5,000.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
And they give you a VW key.
That VW.
It's a VW flip key, just with the Bugatti badge on the back of it.
You know, another quick thought in my head. You know, the keyless keys and then the flip keys, are they different prices? Are they different?
Yeah. So I say this to people all the time. All keys for all cars are different prices.
Yeah.
You could have two vehicles that are the same shape,
Yeah.
but the prices might be different on the keys.
Yeah, because Fiestas, for example, they have a keyless one and then they have one with
you got keyless and non-keyless. They're called proximity keys, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have keyless versions and the flip keys. All the prices are different, to be honest. And when it's a spare key situation, the price is different to when it's a lost key situation. Because when it's a lost key situation, we've got to take into account that we're unlocking the vehicle. We've got to take maybe an ECU out, a body control module out, and then code the key in, and then put write everything back, write all the data back, and then put everything back. So this is why I always tell people, make sure you got a spare, because the prices are very different.
And with the spare key, you're just taking the program off that.
With the spare key, we
can
we can just copy the blade if it's a flip key, and then we can just code it in. The reason why it's more expensive when it's a lost key situation is because the vehicle the minute you open the door and the alarm goes off, the vehicle shuts its system down because it thinks that someone's trying to nick it. When it's a spare key situation, you can turn the ignition on and the car knows that the right key is accepted. And then you're just adding a key. When it's a lost key, it's a whole different ball game.
You know, since you started, so not the 2021, you were doing this before. Did you ever, obviously you learn as you go, as they say.
Of course.
Did you ever have to do any courses or anything, like, because all the new technologies coming out?
So course-wise, I've kind of learned everything by just researching. I did recently go on a course I bought some new software to do Range Rovers all the way up to 2024. Jaguar Land Rover all the way up to 2024.
You know, just a quick one again. In London, they're very hard to get insured on. Are they easy to steal?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because we did a video with Mark McCann on this exact subject. So if you haven't seen it, go onto Mark McCann's channel, look at vehicle theft. Basically, the video was, and we spoke to one of the guys that dealt with the security side of it. When they were creating that system, like the actual security system in the vehicle, most manufacturers have a limit a minimum requirement that they have to go with. So a Thatcham approved, basically. JLR didn't lock down the ECU. They didn't lock down the body control module. And they didn't lock down the KVM modules. The KVM module is what contains the key information. So what was happening is people were going there, and there's programmers out there that allow you to do this, is we're going there, plugging in, coding a key in, and then they're away. Or they were stealing them via relay hack, and once they've stolen them, then they can get them back somewhere and then code the key in afterwards. Only after Mark's video went out, they started doing recalls on all of these vehicles, so that they do updates on the security. But thieves and manufacturers, it's a cat and mouse game. So as soon as the system's created, there's someone out there trying to break it. Trying to crack the system.
Just talking about what you just said about Mark McCann making this video, and then, so how important do you think YouTube or social media is becoming in the car industry?
I think it's really important. I think for a couple of reasons. One, awareness. Two, there's a massive following for cars, and YouTube is huge. I mean, I've done a few videos with Chris Slicks, and thank you to these guys as well for letting me come on their videos and stuff and help them out. But Chris Slicks, Matt Armstrong, Mark McCann, soon as their videos go out, I was getting calls instantly. Like if the video went out at 6 and it was a 30-minute video, at 6:31, I'm getting calls and messages. Honestly, it was just absolutely crazy.
So how did your YouTube journey, which did you meet first out of them three?
So the first YouTuber that I ever did work for was Chris Slicks. So he rang me and said, I've got an Audi TT, fire damage, no keys. So I went there, did that, and he edited the video amazing. Did a really good edit on it and everything, explaining what we do. And then from that, I got loads of work. And then he rang me for a few other jobs, and that went really well. And then Matt Armstrong rang me to do a couple of jobs for him. I think the first one for him was the M5 where they'd lost the key to it. He did manage to find the key, but we went there, opened it, but because it was on a G-Series chassis at the time, we couldn't actually code the key. So he ordered the key from the dealer, and by that point, he'd already found his original key as well. And then
obviously, he's based in Leicester. Where's Chris Slicks based?
Chris is in Leicester as well.
I was in Leicester as well.
Yeah, Chris is in Leicester. Mark McCann is Birmingham, Redditch way. But yeah, it's through them, and it's thankful to them. I've got more exposure.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's helped me out to sort of bring my business to the forefront of, look, this is what we do.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And it's hard in a way. If you didn't have that exposure, sometimes it's difficult to sort of get your name out there.
Yeah. So even like, you know, when we were growing up, the most car showy thing we seen was Top Gear, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now there's YouTube, there's a whole big platform. You can do your own thing. And the top guys, like you said, Mark McCann is one of the top guys right now, innit? He's on top of his game.
Matt Armstrong's absolutely smashing it right now.
Smashing it, man.
Chris Slicks, he's on his way up as well. He's doing really well.
For me, I've always been a guy who follows car YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like even like Auto Alex and them lot.
Yeah, Auto Alex. I actually had to go. Funny enough, I got a call from the Top Dead Center guys, and they were at Auto Alex's unit at the time. So they rang me from London and said, "Oh, look, we've got a Porsche here. It's had fire damage. It's a 911.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, it had fire damage, and it's doing the weirdest thing." And I was like, "Right, what's it doing?" He goes, "Oh, basically, we put the key in. We can start the car. As soon as we take the key out, turn it off and take the key out, the car stays running." But when we press the hazard switch, the car turns off. So he's like, we've looked at everything, we've checked, and the whole wiring loom was burnt. So they got someone there to repair the wiring loom, this, that, the other. So I was like, look, I'll come there. And I actually booked the day after off as well, thinking that I might need to stay over because it might be a big job, fire damaged car, there's always going to be issues with it. So I got there and I was like, right, let me just test a few things, started testing a few things, realized that from the hazard switch, it was actually feeding back to the ignition.
Oh, yeah.
So it was an older 911. So I literally took the switch out, turned it round, put it back in again, started it, turned it off, and it turned off. And he was like, mate, you've not even been here for 5 minutes. I was probably there for about 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. And he was like, Dips, I can't believe it. I'd done 2.5 hour journey there, was there for 5 minutes, 2.5 hours journey back again.
But do you know, like in the car industry, sometimes it's not how long you work, it's your knowledge, innit? What they paid for, I don't know how much you got paid for that job, but they're not paying for you to travel. They're paying for your knowledge and your experience.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, I feel like in the key industry, in your business, it happens a lot. Like it's a quick thing and people thinking, why are you charging me this much?
It takes me, to gain entry into a vehicle, it takes me probably about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I can get into most cars in under a minute. And when you then tell the customer that, oh, look, it's going to be £70 plus VAT or £100 plus VAT, the customer's like, you've only been here for not even 1 minute. And I'm like, yeah, but you've got to remember that my equipment costs me a lot of money. My the time that it's taken me to learn this has cost me a lot of money.
Advertising, overheads,
everything, it all adds up, and people don't see that side of it. They don't realize that I've got one programmer that's probably 10 grand, I've got another programmer that's like 15 grand, and all of this, it all adds up. All adds up, and people don't see that. And it's probably the same in your industry as well. All the 100%. Tools that you've had to buy over the years, people don't see that. And your knowledge based on right, okay, if a car comes in and you've done 30 of them cars and you know exactly what that problem is. If you went there and just done, there you go, mate, it's all done, and then you charge them like 200-300 quid, they're going to be like, 1 minute, what's going on here? But that £200-300, it's taken you years to figure out what that was. Do you know what I mean? It
all comes back. There's a little analogy. I always see it on Facebook going around. It does it rounds. And there's like an engineer or something, and it goes on a big ship or something like that.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, and he knows exactly what it is, but he's like, it's the years of experience and the hard sweat and it's all of that I put in that and allows me to know.
He taps it with a hammer in one place and that, and it's like you're not paying for me to tap it; it's where to tap it.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the shows, then.
Yeah.
I also obviously I see you at all the shows, I reckon. So we done the Rohan's one, I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, Autoville,
yeah. So you've done that. Did you get much traffic from that show?
Yeah. So from that show, I got quite a bit of work. The TSR one, like I said, I landed 2 massive contracts.
Big up Shivam as well.
Massive big up to Shivam and his brother as well, Pritesh. Yeah, big up. I've got a lot of time for them as well, to be honest.
They've got. You know what it is? They make time for us as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Every time we see them, it's always good vibes.
Yeah. Every time when we were doing the TSR show, Pritesh would ring me and be like, "Look, is there anything you need? Is there anything I can do for you?" And I'm like, "Dude, listen, you're doing more than enough for me." Do you know what I mean? So I got a lot of time for them. And the same with Bav and everyone as well. When we were doing the Yanimai show, his team were like constantly in contact with us about like, okay, look, this advert's going to go out. We're going to put this out. Do you want to give us some pictures for this, that, the other? Here's your passes. If there's anything else you need, just give us a shout. And just like always there. And for me, it was like that. When you're doing a show when there's like 20,000 people coming, that's the biggest show I've ever done in my life.
You know, with the Animals, I think that the show part of the business is going to just keep getting better and better because they're learning. And I know how Bav is, that you've met Bav as well.
Yeah.
He just learns and he just gets stronger and stronger.
But that's how we all do though, isn't it? Like in the sense of I always say this, for me, every single day is a school day.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I might know all this stuff about doing car keys and everything, but I will never put myself in that pedestal saying, "Oh yeah, I know everything," because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm learning every single day because technology is advancing every single day.
Yeah, 100%. So show-wise, obviously, my question over here: what is your most memorable moment from a show so far that you've done? Is it someone you've met? Like you mentioned, a job that you got?
My most memorable moment. There's quite a few memorable moments, but for me, it's probably got to be my first show, and it's got to be that TSR show.
Just getting out there and just...
Yeah, just like, I remember all the prep that went into it, and just being there. And
who was supporting you, like behind the scenes? Obviously, your parents, sister?
My mum, my dad, my sister, my niece, my nephew.
Okay.
I had all my friends supporting me. That was a really memorable moment because that was my first show ever. And that was... I remember when we finished that show, I was overwhelmed. I was literally overwhelmed because just the amount of people that we had come to our stand.
Yeah.
And I'd say after that one, it has got to be the Yanimai's Leicester show. And that because we were trying to get my E30 ready for that. I had so many issues with that car. And everybody at Darkside, Daz, Rio, Isaiah, Mariah... Anthony, Chris,
team,
like literally big up the whole team. Everybody put in so much effort to get the bodywork ready for that show.
Dips, how many years have you had that car? And how many years has it been a project?
I bought that car in 2010. And I started doing it up, and then that's when I went through all my mental health issues, and the car sat for 10 years. And then I said to Daz at Darkside, I was like, right, look, I'd really like to take this to show you. He's like, right, let's do it. So everyone put in so much effort to get that car ready for the show, but unfortunately I got let down by someone else regards the engine side of it. So I ended up having to trailer it to the show, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is.
But you made it there. The car
made it to the show. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
But going back to memorable moments, and that show was really memorable for me because I pulled in so many favors. Like I wanted 2 really special cars for the stand. So I asked Mark McCann if I could have his SVJ on the stand. And he's like, Dips, yep, not a problem. So we got the SVJ transported, had that on the stand, which attracted so much attention for 2 reasons. One, it's an SVJ, and 2, it was Mark McCann's
car.
And then another massive one was my supplier, who had a brand spanking new Porsche Dakar with 36 miles on it. So massive shout out to Ravi for that as well. So for me, that was really good. And then I called in loads of other favors, like to get other people's cars on the stand, because I wanted a range of cars to show that we can do all the way from old classics all the way up to supercars. So we had like Rolls Royce on there. We had Everyman Racing's Ferrari on there. We had an Aston Martin. We had 2 Aston Martins. I had my E30. I had the, what else did I have? Yeah, I had the Porsche Dakar and the SVJ and everything as well.
Who sorted out the logistics? Like you said, Mark's car, you had to get trailered.
I had to sort everything out. And the lady that bought that car down, she does an amazing job. So she deals with like supercars, hypercars, transporting them. And she did, her name's Amy, and I'll give you her details and whatnot, but she done such an amazing job bringing it down. And then we had to transport the Porsche, so we had to go and pick the Porsche up. Ayaz did that from Mo's team.
Big up Ayaz, man.
Yeah, big up Ayaz as well. So he ended up he's been transporting my E30 has been on more trailers than it has on anything else. Honestly, it's seen more trailers than it has the road. So he ended up taking the E30 everywhere to all the shows that we've needed to take it to. But yeah, I'd say the Leicester show, the Yanimai's Leicester show, was another really memorable one, because that one we did probably, I'd say, about a year's worth of prep, just to get everything ready for that show.
It was a big show, innit? I think
it was a huge show.
Leicester, you know what it is as well? Have you done any shows out of Leicester before I say what I'm going to say now?
So we just did the Yanimai's High Wycombe show.
Yeah.
And then I did Mark McCann's show at Mallory, the soapbox race one.
Yeah.
We did that one as well. But next year, we've got some really big shows planned as well. We're going to do all the Yanimai's ones.
Yeah.
And we're going to do all the petrol hedonism ones as well. So we're going to do Wembley on April 6th, I think it is, 6th and 7th as well. That's going to be at Wembley, so that's going to be good.
So do you feel different doing shows on home turfs than you do when you go out of town? Because at home turf, you know a lot of people as well.
Yeah. Home turf, I'm not going to lie. Home turf is a little bit easier in the sense that if you forget something, you can just quickly whip home and get it.
Oh yeah,
you're like 10 minutes down the road. Yeah. When it's out of town, it's like I had everything lined up at home, and it's like just ticking everything off the list.
Going through it twice and that.
Going through it twice and making sure, and then you realise, oh, actually, I need to get this, need to get that. And once you've left, that's it. You can't go back for anything.
The two shows you just mentioned, High Wycombe and the other one out of town.
Yeah.
Did you have cars on your?
Yeah, had cars on the stand there as well. But so the High Wycombe one, I only took my 235, which we were actually picking up from London that day. The day before we were picking that up, so we went and picked the car up, stayed overnight, and then I had my E30 and the 235 there as well. The show at the Mallory, we had my E30 there for that. And what else did we have? I think we had another car there as well. I can't remember what else we had. I did have another car there. I can't remember. Oh, actually, yeah, we had Bumblebee.
Oh yeah.
Transformers Bumblebee there as well. But yeah, that was a really good show as well. But no, I love the shows.
Yeah,
it's a good way to interact with people.
What it is? Car shows are a different vibe, innit? The vibe is always good, innit, man?
So good, so much fun. And you know what the best thing about these shows for me is when you see, I remember this as a kid. So when I used to, my parents used to take me to the motor show when I was a baby, until we were growing up at NEC. When I see kids coming there and they're like awing over the cars that are there, it makes me so happy. Like I remember kids coming up to me saying, "Oh, can I sit in that car?" Like, mate, open the door, go and sit inside.
Because these, how we say we used to have them on our walls? Yeah. They actually have it as the wallpaper.
Yeah, as the wallpaper on their phones and stuff. Yeah. And I remember at the Leicester Yanimai show, this kid came up and he was just like, out of all these cars that are here, I like the blue one, which he was on about the E30 at the time. Yeah. And I'm like, mate, are you serious? We've got a Lamborghini SVJ here and we've got a Porsche Dakar here. And he's like, no, seriously, I really like the blue one. And I was like, do you want to sit in it? And he's like, are you serious? And just seeing his eyes light up, yeah. And I'm like, listen, mate, sit inside it if you want. Because you'll have to excuse the mess in there because it's like wiring still wasn't done and whatnot. But just seeing the kids like enjoying the cars, that makes me happy. Because that's what I was like when I used to go to the shows and stuff and look at the cars and I'd be like, and they're behind barriers. And you're like, you can't touch them. And you're like, I'm never going to get a chance to sit in that car. So for me, it's like, if I can give these kids an opportunity to sit in the cars and feel the steering and, just feel how crappy the gear stick is on the old E30 and stuff like that. But it's good. I think it's, you know what? One day they might grow up and think, oh, actually, I want one of these cars.
Yeah. All right, next topic. GT86 winning the raffle.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? A lot of people think that's fake, that people don't win raffles and it's all made up, it's a scam.
Yeah.
But I know it's not a scam. Seeing your reaction and seeing how it helped you.
It did. It helped me a lot. So I'll tell you the story behind that. So I never have entered competitions. I don't enter competitions. Or I didn't enter competitions, should I say. And I love cars. So I was driving down Melton Road. And I always keep my cameras with me, all my action cams and stuff like that. So I was driving down Melton Road and I seen this blue Nissan GTR, and it had a full Liberty Walk kit on it.
I know exactly which one you're on about, the light blue one,
Yeah, light blue one, full Liberty Walk kit. And I was like, and I'd never seen it in Leicester. It was all stickered up and everything. I'm hanging out the window at this point with my camera on the stick, like trying to take a video because it was behind me at the time and I spotted it in the rear view. And as we've come up towards towards the end of Melton Road, he's gone past me, he's come round, gone past me. So I'm videoing this whole thing and that. And I'm like, I put it up on Facebook and I'm like, right, whose car's this? Because I want to go and do a video and a walk around.
Yeah.
So one of my mates, Sunil, from Sunil Treatment, he messaged me and said, oh, it's one of my friends. He goes, the car's coming to me in about a week, to get some audio done to it. He goes, if you want, come down and see it. It's like, okay, brilliant. Then he messaged me back and said, it's owned by Will Prentice, who owns Exclusive Competitions. Someone else messaged me and said, oh, it's Will Prentice's car, and they're going to be raffling the car off. I'm like, what do you mean raffling the car off? Like, who the hell gives a car away like that? And then he's like, oh, no, go on the website. Here's the website details. So I've gone on the website, and there it is. Lo and behold, it's there. And it's got all the pictures of it and everything. And I'd stopped drinking at that time. So I haven't drank since like 2020, And I'm like, it was £10. It was £9.99 for a ticket. I never entered a competition, didn't know how to do it. I had to register on the site and everything. Registered, put £10 down, and then didn't think nothing of it. Just left it at that. And then on Facebook, when you look at something, it will start bringing up adverts for that again and again and everything.
Algorithm.
Yeah, the bloody algorithm, innit? So this GT86 came up and it looked sick, like decked out. It was on air ride. It had rims on it.
Same competition people there.
No, so at first I didn't even notice the competition name. It just, this picture came up and I'm like, oh, is that someone's car? Liked the picture, and then it came up again. And then I looked and it said Exclusive Competitions. I'm like, hey, that's odd. So clicked on it, went into it, and it said £1.95. And I was like, that's the price of a pint, that is. Do you know what I mean?
Literally.
So, and I don't drink now, so I'm like, sod it, just put £1.95 that I bought one ticket. Yeah. And then I just, again, didn't think nothing of it, carried on with my day. And then about a week later, I'm on a job and I'm literally just coding a key in for someone. And I get a message come through on my phone, and it's from one of my customers saying, did you enter a competition for a GT86? And I'm like, yeah. And then he goes, I think you've just won.
Because they do the live video.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't even know how they draw it.
You just thought you get email
I just
or
thought
something.
you get an email, or I didn't even think I'd win. So it was just like, I'll just enter it, and whatever happens, it is what it is.
£2, isn't it?
Yeah, it's £2. So he messages me saying, oh, I think you've won. So I'm like, quickly messaging, I'm like, how do I find out? And then he's like, he messages me back.
How do I claim my prize?
Yeah, how do I claim my prize? What? I want my car. Yeah, so he's like messaging me back saying, oh, they'll probably call you. As I'm reading his message where he's saying, they'll probably call you,
cool.
My phone rings. So, and I didn't recognize the number. So I've answered it, and I get, obviously, because it's my work phone. It could be random numbers, So I answered the phone, and I was like, hello. And he goes, oh, is that Dip and Pancholi? I was like, yeah. And he goes, hi, it's Will Prentice from... And as soon as he said Will Prentice, I was like, I recognize that name, because my mate told me about him with the GTR.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, it's Will Prentice from Exclusive. And I'm like, okay. And he goes... did you enter the competition for the GT86? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, you've just won it. And I was like,
no way.
No. Like, I literally could not believe. I was in so much shock. I was in so much shock that I was like, I can't believe this. Like, literally to the point where, you know, when someone tells you that you
think it's a prank or something, innit?
The weird thing is, I didn't think it was a prank, but I just didn't believe it. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, what do I do? He goes, oh, you're live on the thingy right now, on the draw.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, we'll give you a call. So he's put the phone down. And then about 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. And he messages me saying that, okay, just contact me regarding claiming your prize, all the rest of it. So I've rang him back and I'm like, what do I do? And he goes, just come down and it's yours. Collect it. Here's our address details.
Where was it? East Goscott?
No, so they're in Market Harborough.
Okay, yeah.
So he goes, oh, just come down. And when do you plan on coming? So I rang my mum up, I rang my sisters.
Mate. Get it ready.
Yeah, I rang everyone up. I'm like, I just want a car. And I still hadn't seen the video, the live draw at this point. I hadn't seen the live draw. So he's like, I rang my mum, my sister and everyone. I'm like, I just want a car, this, that. They're like, what are you on about? Like, thinking I'm drunk or something, yeah? And I'm like, no, I've just won a GT86. I've just entered a competition a couple of weeks ago and I've just won it. Got home and then... I watched the live draw that they did because it stays on Facebook.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this, but they did the draw 5 times.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
And it was a no number, like, you know, when you get a no, that number's not assigned to anyone.
Yeah, but it still comes up in it.
It still comes up.
They do it again.
So they were like, oh, we'll have to redo it. And then my name came up and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So I rang the insurance company. I'm like looking at insurance and everything. Rang the insurance company up. Yep, GT86. Is it standard? Yeah, it's standard. Yeah, just trying to get the cheapest quote I could possibly get. Yeah. And then I managed to find a company that insured it for everything.
Yeah.
Like insured like the mods and everything like that. I went there. They wanted to do a video on that, on me collecting it. Did a video on the collection and everything as well.
That's what you can see is authentic. You know when people say, "Oh, it's a scam, it's fake."
Dude,
your video here, it makes me believe it's authentic, bro.
So, because the pictures don't do it justice.
Yeah.
Even though listen, their pictures are wicked, and mad shout out to Lewis who takes the pictures. But honestly, when you see the car in person, it was just there in like this massive warehouse bit, just parked up properly, headlights are on, and it just slammed to the deck, and I'm like, no freaking way, man. And then he's like, I goes, okay, I had a look around, they did the video thing, and I'm like, so what do we do now? He's like, here's your logbook and here's your keys.
Drive away.
I'm like, mate, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And I'm like,
£2, you know.
Yeah, like literally one. And then I had so many people messaging me saying, oh, so when do you have to give the car back? And I'm like, what do you mean give the car? They goes, oh, it must be only for a year or something. Or I'm like, no, he's given me the logbook.
It's in my name, this is my car.
And then people are asking me like, oh, did you have to pay like an extra bit of money afterwards when you win it? I'm like, no. You enter the competition, you win the competition, you take the prize.
You get insured and you take the car.
Yeah, it's yours.
That's
Do you know what I mean?
Man.
So I remember driving out of there with the biggest smile on my face, honestly.
I would as well, to be honest. And you're a car guy on top of that.
Mate,
well,
I love cars, yeah. And as soon as I got it back, I found out, I did some research and found out who actually built the car as well.
Yeah.
Like did all the air ride and everything, got in touch with him. We had a wicked chat as well. It's R23 on Insta, and had a good chat to him as well. And then he came down, done a little video thing and everything as well. But I remember getting that car, and when I got it, the first thing I did, mate, Tesco's car park, traction control off, full lock, dump the clutch, just doing donuts in it. But I had so much fun in that car because we did track days, car shows, road trips. One of the best cars, honestly. It's underpowered, but it was so much fun.
So this leads me actually up to my last sort of topic, YouTube. When did your YouTube journey start? Was it with that car?
No. My YouTube journey only just started probably about a couple of months ago.
But social media, you were still active before.
Social, I was active on with like Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest of it. So YouTube for other people, when I was helping other people on their YouTube channels, that started a little while back, a couple of years ago. Like obviously helping, building, like doing electrical work on their cars and stuff like that. So that was like, been doing that for a few years now. And then just recently I was like, and I'll explain why I did this here, but I was like, I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel.
Your own one.
So I've been recording videos for the past few years. Yeah, but I've never ever put them up on YouTube.
Like you said, you've been carrying a camera. And
I had my cameras with me everywhere, and I record all the jobs that I do, everything, but I never put them up because I was just like, who's going to watch them? Like, no one's going to watch someone doing electrical stuff.
So you think?
Well, this is it. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just put one video up. So we put one video up. Within one day, I got 3,500 views. Now, I don't know if that's good or not.
It's good.
Yeah, but in one day, 3,500. And the thing is, I didn't
First video.
I didn't do it in landscape. I done it in portrait. Yeah, so I had people commenting and they say, can you record your next video in landscape so we can see it properly?
You've done it wrong, mate.
Yeah, you've done it wrong. So I had all these people messaging and everything. But then I realized that people want to see things getting repaired. Yeah, because it might help them one day. Yeah, so I've realized the YouTube videos that I'm sort of going to be putting out is going to be more how-to videos, how to do this, how to do that. We just did a long-form video for the preparation of the Yanamai show.
Seen that.
That's on my YouTube channel now. So make sure you go and like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff.
P1 Autokeys, right?
Yeah, P1 Autokeys on YouTube. And we've just put that video out, and then we're just editing the actual show day video for the Yanimai's Leicester show. And then after that one will be the High Wycombe show as well. But a lot of my videos are going to be mainly based around vehicle electronics, car keys, key programming, diagnostics and stuff like that. So if it helps other people, brilliant.
We briefly spoke outside. So you said you had your camera, you've been recording for a while, but now you've got a camera guy. He does your editing as well, right?
Yeah, mad shout out to Jalis as well. This kid is amazing. So I met him at TSR did a small supercar show in Birstall.
Okay, yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, so at that show, he was flying his drone about. And because I didn't have my BMW at the time because it had gone to London to get the engine done, I asked my friend, Ayaz, who's got a Nissan Skyline. Yeah. So I said to him, I goes, look, any chance I can use your Skyline to put on my stand? He's like, Dips, I'm not going to be here, but you can take it. It's there. So we put the car on the stand, and there were supercars there, and people were flocking over this car. Honestly, there were like so many people around it. So at the end of the day, as we were packing up, Jalis came over to me and says, oh, look, do you mind if I do a little video? I was like, if you want, I'll do a couple of little donuts in it as well. So got in the car, did a few donuts. He recorded it all on his camera and on his drone and all the rest of it. I seen the videos that he'd edited on Instagram. And I'm like, hey, this guy's brilliant. And then he did a recently done, and then I didn't see him after that, And then I seen a video that he'd done on a Lamborghini Huracan, and the way he edited the video was just amazing. So I contacted him, and this is before the Yanimai show.
He's a younger, yeah?
Yeah, younger. He's 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so I contacted him, and I'm like, look, I really like the way that you edit your videos. Would you be interested in doing some YouTube videos for me? Because I'll pay you for it. It's not a problem, but I'd really want to do it. We recorded that whole Yanimai's live preparation show video on an iPhone. Yeah, and it came out so good. Honestly, I was so impressed.
Did you know there's a movie, I think it's coming out, it's come out 28 years later.
Yeah.
The whole movie was shot on an iPhone 15 Pro Max.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's crazy how good the quality is on them cameras.
Mad, isn't it?
And then I said to him, so we did that video worked out really well. And I says, look, I don't mind investing in the equipment. So just recently, before the High Wycombe show, went and bought a Sony camera, bought the lens. I didn't realize how expensive lenses are. Oh my God, lenses, man. Like we went into a shop and we were asking them about lenses and stuff. And I was thinking like maybe 100, 200 quid.
Yeah.
Oh, no, mate, your lenses can go up to in the thousands. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So I ended up spending about 3-4 grand on cameras and all the everything that we needed for it. And I was like, look, if we're going to do it, we're doing it properly. I'm going to give it my all. And this is something that I was going to touch on actually earlier is if you don't try something that you've got an idea for, and it's the same with my P1 Autokeys and everything as well. Like if you don't try, there is 100% chance that you're going to fail at that.
100%.
But if you try it, there's a chance that you will succeed.
Yeah.
And if there's even a 1% chance that you can succeed, do it. Like just literally do it. Give it your all. Like when I wanted to do supercar keys, I was like, I've got to try it. And it's worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. With YouTube, it was like, if I don't put them videos out, there's 100% chance I'll never get any viewers. But if I put it out and I get some viewers, then I can build from that.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done now. I've literally started building up.
You know, your cameraman, you're saying he was editing before. Was he doing it as a business or was he doing it personally?
Just doing it for fun. And he's never edited a YouTube video.
Okay.
That video was his first YouTube video. But I seen the potential in him, and I was like, I can see you've got so much potential.
And willingness to learn.
Yeah, and willingness to learn, and his attitude towards like just wanting to do it is such a good attitude, honestly.
Is he a car guy as well?
He's a car guy as well. He loves his cars. Yeah. So when we took him to the High Wycombe show, I paid for like a hotel and this and that and everything. And I was like, right, I just want you to record everything. Let's just catch jokes. Let's have some fun with it because you're using the new camera now and everything. Yeah. And he was so gassed and he goes, Dips, you know what? He goes, this camera's brilliant and everything. I was like, it's good. And I told him as well, I says, look, if you've got other jobs and you want to use that equipment, by all means use it. Do you know what I mean? If I can help someone, I will always try and help someone. Do you know what I mean? So no, he's brilliant. He is. He's going to go far in life.
So if you're up and coming editor or cameraman, you just got to reach out to people, innit?
Yeah, just literally reach out to people, even if it's a local shop. a garage or anything, any industry that you're interested in, or even don't even have to be interested in, just reach out to them. Just say, go up to them and say, look, can I make a video for you?
Do you know what it is? Yeah, nowadays a lot of businesses they have to be active on social media. They're doing all these little skits and that,
100%.
but they have to. If they don't, they're gonna fall behind, innit?
Yeah, and this is where I've never advertised. I've never paid for advertising in my business. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like all of my stuff has been done Facebook, Instagram.
Or mouth to mouth.
Or mouth to mouth. Honestly, all of it. Like the reason why, because for me, I looked at it initially as it's free advertising. Obviously now, as you grow, that's when you start looking into paid advertising and all the rest of it. But initially for me, it was like, I can't afford £1,500 a month to advertise on Google and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So my thing was, as long as I do a good job, that guy's going to tell 20 people. Do you know what I mean? And if I do a bad job, he's going to go and tell 50 people. So I need to make sure I do a good job.
That's true. Last couple of questions. 1 year plan and 5 year plan. Where do you see yourself?
Right. So 1 year plan is to, we're in the process of creating a security product for a lot of these vehicles that are getting stolen. And the way that they're getting stolen is the thieves are plugging into the OBD port and stealing the vehicles, coding a key and stealing it. So I'm in the process at the moment of creating an OBD security device that basically the OBD port is a complete different shape.
Okay.
So they can't physically plug into it. All the wiring configurations will be changed. It comes with a fly lead. And then that fly lead, when you go to the dealers or if you go for service or anything,
it's like a locking nut, basically.
Yeah, basically like a locking nut. You plug it in. Only that fly lead will work with that port. So it won't work. So a thief can't just order a fly lead off me and go and plug it into someone's car because it ain't going to work. So we're in the process of sorting that out.
Are you going to patent this idea and stuff?
Yeah, that's all been done.
It's all been done. So you can talk about it. No one's going to copy
I can talk about it. It doesn't matter. So that's all been done. I've even got the parts for it and everything as well.
Have you collabed with someone on this or?
No, it's just my own little, idea. And I've been wanting to do it for years, to be honest, but it was just, shall I not? And then Mark McCann, when we did a video on vehicle security, I gave him one of them at the end. I gave him one, and then he's shown it at the end of his video. As soon as that video went out, mate, I was getting calls left, right, and center. So that's the 1 year plan. The 5 year plan is to go international.
Yeah. You're already heading on the way. Like
we're getting close. Plan. We're getting close to it. So plan is to do a trip in America, to do car keys there, and then open up from there. I've got to go to Europe to do a few keys there as well. But my main focus is seeing what opportunities I've got there. Yeah. So when I go to America to do all these keys, if I find that, for example, they're struggling in getting keys supplied, I can supply the keys to them. Do you see what I mean? And I know that with McLaren and stuff like that, they do struggle.
Do you think you could train someone out there to do what you do and then remote?
There's a lot of locksmiths out there and a lot of good locksmiths out there. So as far as training someone and getting someone out there, for me, it's not the path that I want to take.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about doing things that are niche. Because my background's electronics, so even like working on modules and stuff like that, where dealerships are charging 7-10 grand for the modules, I can go there and repair a lot of these modules. We already get sent modules to get repaired and stuff like that as well. So for me, it's about opening different avenues abroad. Already doing the supercars here. I really want to push that out there abroad now. So that's 5 year plan is that.
And last thing, a piece of advice or a quote that you'd give to our younger listeners.
Bit of advice that I'd give probably would be, if you've got something that you want to do in life, just give it your 100%. Give it absolutely everything you have, and just go for it. Don't let anybody, and I mean anybody, not your family, your friends, or anyone tell you that it's a bad idea until you obviously do your research. If you think you're going to be an ice cream man and there's about 20 ice cream mans in the bloody same area, then chances are it's not going to be the best idea. But if you think you've got a niche idea or you think you've got something special, like a special idea, just do it. Go for it. Doesn't matter what it is, just do it. And do you know what? And if you fail, at least you've tried.
Yeah.
At least you've tried. But always give it your 100%. That my biggest thing is whatever I do, I'm going to give it my 100%. And I think that's probably the best advice. Just give it everything you got. You got one life.
His advice, man. Yeah. Thanks very much for coming back.
It's been an absolute pleasure, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I think we're going to do well again.
Yeah, definitely. But can I just do a quick shout out to a few people? So massive shout out to obviously my family who supported me throughout everything, through my difficult times. So my mum, my dad, my sister, all my cousins as well, because I've had loads of support from them. Massive shout out to everyone at Dark Side Body Shop, because we're like a family, like the Fast and Furious family, honestly. Massive shout out to all of them guys as well. And a big thank you to all of my customers, past, present and future. And please go to P1 Autokeys on YouTube and give us a subscribe. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Fryday podcast. Big up the sponsors, Mama's Kitchen, In Brief Designs. Get at them for all your design needs. Big up Pero too. This week we've got the brand new dropped Pata Air Max and Air Max ones. They're the 20th anniversary ones. They've been a grail of mine for ages. I got them. Big up Man-Made Barbers. Unfortunately, Rahul's not this year, so you can't see his hair. Big up RS Glass and Glazing Limited. Big up Flexi Vehicle Hire. Any car, if you need a car to hire. If you've got a show, need to hire a car, hit them up. They've got something for you. And big up Leicester Podcast Studio each and every time. It's a wrap. Make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe. We need more subscribers.